For a Western hunter, the Northwoods can be an imposing place. I'm used to wide open habitat where you can spot a dog on point, sometimes hundreds of yards away. Up here in Minnesota and Wisconsin, you often lose sight of your dog just yards from the trail. The only hint of a point coming from your electronics, or the sudden silence of the bell on your dog's collar. I've come here to meet up with old friends, to go after ruffed grouse with my 2 young setters, and to learn from those who spend a lifetime in these dense forests. My English setter, Jones, comes from a famous kennel in Minnesota, though he is far more at home chasing chukar in the wide open ranges of the West. So I decided to load him up and my new setter, Trek, for a tour of these iconic woodlands. Jones performed well in Minnesota, and even young Trek got some time on the ground. And now the hunt moves southeast to Wisconsin to meet up with a dear old friend for another chance at chasing the king of the Northwoods. This is a story about traditions and heritage. This is a hike through an autumn landscape steeped in history. This is a story about honoring the past while living fully in the present. This is Wild Upland.
Wild Upland is brought to you by Purina Pro Plan.
Jeremy Moore is an old soul. Like a hunter from another time, he walks these woods in a faded stormy chromer. And in the crook of his faded flannel shirt, he cradles his grandfather's old Winchester Model 12. A gun that's been in these same woods for more than 100 years. Jeremy is a top-notch dog trainer and a contributor to Gun Dog magazine. But he's also one of my dearest friends. So when he invited me and the dogs to come as part of our Northwoods tour, I jumped at the chance.
So this is like my roots. I was born up here, lived here till middle school and moved away, but my parents have retired back. They're not far from us. My sister has a place up here. It's home again, but it's a camp for us. And so I find that it's so special because we get to share it. I get to share it with a lot of people throughout the year, family and friends. It's such a perfect setup. Like, we really lucked out. It's a perfect setup for training. I've got everything I want for a gun dog spot here. I can walk out my door and I can put bird dogs on birds, wild birds. It's a very unique place geographically.
So the cover, when we get down here, it's gated. Cover won't be bad on the right, but and he can kind of get his runs out there, but then we'll turn, you'll see, we'll turn left. We're just gonna loop. There's a lot of little loopy trails that's younger on the left side. And this is a good split. We can split this cover with swap dogs if we want to, but you can cut them loose anywhere in here. I've never moved birds on the right, but I feel like it's a really good spot to just let him get his run in.
Right here. What I like about Jeremy is has old school mentality. He is traditionally a lab guy. He has these fantastic black labs that he trains for upland hunting, waterfowl, shed hunting, deer trailing. And he just has this very slow and methodical way about him, and this old school, very conservationist minded, just an awesome, awesome individual. So I really wanted to hunt with him.
Better idea. That's how it is. Because I used to get so random.
Wild Upland is brought to you by Purina Pro Plan. Nutrition that performs. Browning, the best there is. Fiocchi, your upland ammo for every pursuit. Onyx, know where you stand. Tetra Hearing, hear the hunt. Final Rise, premium upland gear.
I'm on a Northwoods tour of Minnesota and now Wisconsin, after going after ruffed grouse with my English setters Jones and Trek. Neither dog has much experience with these birds. But after hunting in Minnesota, Jones is starting to figure things out. It helps to have my good friend Jeremy Moore as a host this week. Jeremy is native to these woods and is a great dog trainer for both grouse and waterfowl. His dogs know these thickets, and there's no faster way for my setters to learn than hunting with experienced handlers and dogs. Joining us is Chris Smith, another friend and hunter who runs a setter from the same kennel as my Jones. I came up here knowing that my dog could mess up, knowing that Jones had never ran the Northwoods and he could mess up the hunt. And to Jeremy, it's not about the birds, it's about the dogs. And so he was very adamant to me about, we're gonna let Jones run and he's gonna figure it out. And this is all about Jones. This isn't about us shooting birds. This isn't about anything else. We're gonna let Jones run. Whoop.
Push right to that lake.
Easy.
Well, he'll tell us if they're here. He touched scent for sure.
So I'm used to in the West, I can see my dogs running in the big wide open, right? And so I can tell the way that they're working. But here in the Northwoods, because it's so thick, you really can't see your dog. So they rely heavily on a bell. And so I didn't really put two and two together until Jeremy pointed out to me that at first we ran Jones without a bell and we couldn't see how he was working and we couldn't hear how he was running. And so Jeremy asked, do you mind if we put a bell on him? And I'm like, no, I don't mind that. And he said, we'll be able to tell the way he's running and if he slows down, if he runs into birds, if he's being a little bit more methodical. And I had never really thought of that, and he was 100% right. And so we slapped a bell on Jones, and it was really cool to hear him working the woods because we could tell if he was just straight sprinting or if he slowed down because he's working a little bit more methodical. And that was a great educational tool for me to know that in this thick woods, put a bell on him because we can hear how he's working. And it was cool to see Jeremy tell me, he's slowing down, he's slowing down. And then when you hear the bell stop, you're like, he's on point.
There's a bird around here, or there was a bird around here.
Oh, yeah. Okay. There's a bird in here, find it. Okay.
I'm not an electronics guy. I'm not against it. I just don't want to have to rely on it. And it doesn't give me the feel that the bell gives me because the bell is so instant. And the bell tells me everything I need to know. And if there's contacts with birds, I know what happened prior to it, even if I don't see them. It forces me to stay in touch with the dog. And because you're forcing yourself to hear them, you start to understand the patterns. And that's that ability to read it.
You know, just after a few days in Minnesota of him hunting, he came down here and you could tell he knew what his job was. And I knew he needed to get into the thick covers to find the birds. And so he was truly ranging out well. And he was holding steady through the flush. And he hadn't yet pointed one on his own yet. But we were out hunting and we heard that bell stop ringing. And, you know, I looked down and I'm like, he's so many yards this way. We went in there and I couldn't see him, unfortunately, because of the thick cover, but Jeremy could, and he says, there he is. And he's standing really tall, and Jeremy's, you know, he's telling me he's on point right there. And what was cool about it, we walked in, grouse flushed this way, and 2 more grouse flushed this way, and my bird dog had connected the dots and figured it out, and it was a really special moment for me.
Here goes. Good boy, he stood it. Good boy.
Where is he?
He's straight, he's right there. That, go.
There it is. Did you hit it?
Missed it.
That one didn't go far up there.
No, I saw it spin right around and it's gonna be right where these 2 went. That was beautiful.
So he was pointing it?
He was, oh God, yeah. I saw him though. You didn't see him? I saw him the whole time. He was standing beautiful in the sun. Grouse.
No shooting, no shooting.
Jones was great to watch. Gosh, was he he is a nice dog. I think his pace is great. I like the way he checks in. He's got a great compass. He always knows where to find us, and watching some of these dogs come to this thick Northwoods cover from, you know, generally more open or prairie habitats, it's always interesting to watch them understand, learn to unlock the cover, I think of it. Learn to unlock the cover and how to range, how to check in, and then ultimately learn that this new bird, this new scent, equals that point that they are craving.
Good boy, good boy.
Jeremy Moore is far more than a colleague or columnist for Gundog. He's a good friend who supported me when I was first dipping my toes in the upland world. And he was always a fan of my first bird dog, Lincoln.
Yeah, it's your turn.
Giving me confidence in a world where everyone seems to have an opinion.
You know, I remember when I first took over Gundog, I had a silver lab, which is, you know, there's a lot of controversy behind him, right? But no one knew the true story behind Lincoln. They didn't know that Lincoln wasn't gotten to be a hunting dog. He was just happened to turn into a fantastic hunting dog. And so I remember when I took over Gundog, I was getting a little bit of hate on social media, and Jeremy called me one day just out of the blue, and, you know, he basically just told me, like, you're a bird hunter. Lincoln is perfect in every way, and that you need to just ignore people. And you do you. And I truly just love that about Jeremy, the support I got from him and the friendship. And so Jeremy is just a dog person.
I lost Lincoln last year, and I know all too well the pain you feel when a good bird dog leaves this world. So I was sad to hear that Jeremy had lost a very special dog to him, just a week before the trip was supposed to begin. I called him to offer my condolences and make it clear I understood if he just wasn't up for a visit. But Jeremy knew the best course of action and the best way to honor his dog's life and legacy was to get right back into the woods.
So Makina was my first setter, and we just lost her this last week. I have so many good memories in such a short window with the dog. And one of them is when I first thought about getting a setter, I really thought I knew what I wanted. I knew what I was gonna do with it. I was gonna grouse hunt with it, woodcock hunt with it. I knew what I wanted. I thought I knew. I wanted a close working dog. I wanted a dog that, all these things that I had envisioned. And then I got her and I realized I didn't know what I wanted because she wasn't that. So she opened up my eyes to a whole new world of bird dogs. And I think what I've landed on is when I realized what I wanted in a setter, it was Makina. And so I had that chance. And I'm so grateful for it. She brought me a lot of great things. And that's something that not everybody gets. And I got it. We got it from her. So.
So Northwoods Bird Dogs produces a lot of great dogs, and it's funny because they all look alike. And Chris, he's got his dog Willie here, and he's a Northwoods bred dog too. I think he's about a year younger than Jones, and it's kind of funny, they're doppelgangers. And Willie has been running on grouse since he was born, right? And so he's a fantastic grouse dog, and thank goodness we had Willie because he's out here pointing all the grouse for us. And I love the way that he moves. I love the way that he casts into the woods, and you can tell that he's just born to do this, and he's done it his whole life. And I loved watching him work and find us all the grouse, and I love seeing Chris light up about his dog, right? You could tell he was just so proud of him, and that's what we want. And thank goodness for Willie, because he was a hell of a bird dog and found us a lot of grouse this week.
Woodcock.
Good shot. Good job, Willie boy. Any typical lab has just a hell of a nose on him, and we end up shooting a woodcock, and you know, he's saying, put him at heel, and he's just real quietly, Ellie back. And Ellie runs in there, and within 3 seconds, she had found, you know, the woodcock that we had shot, and I'm just like, that is a fantastic dog. Yes. Good shot, man.
Thank you.
Wild Upland is brought to you by Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs. Browning, the best there is. Fiocchi, your upland ammo for every pursuit. Onyx, know where you stand. Lucky Duck, loyalty goes both ways. Tetra Hearing, hear the hunt.
My Northwoods tour is winding down. And though every bird was a hard-fought battle, I can already see the progress Jones has made in these tangles and thickets. To me, hunting is all about the dogs and wild birds. And neither disappointed up here in the north. But perhaps my biggest moment of joy came when I put my newest dog, Trek, on the trail for a ruffed grouse. To Trek, everything is new and a learning experience. From the travel, to the landscapes, to the strange scent of unfamiliar birds.
You know, it wasn't important to us to bag a lot of birds in this trip. What was important to us was running dogs. And, you know, Trek is I nicknamed him Little Thunder to go along with White Lightning. And he's just learning. He's only about 6.5 months old, and birds make bird dogs. And at this point, we really needed him to come in contact with a bird. And it finally happened. We heard this, he had gone down a little bit over to our left, and I had just called him back. And the next thing I know, he comes sprinting, and this bird has flushed this grouse. And Jerry goes, "There's a bird." And he was able to turn and connect on it and shoot this grouse. And here comes little Trekster. He just beeline, and he had followed that bird's flush, and he heard the shot, and he saw it fall, and he beelines into the woods to go for the retrieve. And I'm just ecstatic, right? You know, I've got my phone out. I'm like, that's my boy, because he was just so pumped. And he's on the bird, and he's, you know, he hasn't quite learned how to retrieve yet, but he's standing there, and he's you know, got it in his mouth, and you can just tell his tail's up and his ears are up, and he's just so excited. And those contacts are what make bird dogs. And he may not have pointed it, but that's okay. It's just important about getting birds in his face and building that bird drive.
Trek was great as well. Watching some of those light bulbs go off for him, and the joy of a puppy is not something that lasts long enough, it seems. So getting to watch him stretch out, and you could see on his face he was proud of himself. He was real happy with him and doing his big grouse dog stuff. He worked beautifully in this cover, truly.
To me, that this week kind of captures in a real small bubble what I love about October is like getting together with friends and dogs. And to me, it's really hard to top that. You know, there's something special about the autumn, and we got it. You know, we got it in a couple days, and we got a lot of it. And I'm real grateful because I get to do that kind of stuff. And I hope I never take it for granted.
So I was so thankful that Jeremy invited me to his personal cabin to come hunt. You know, where he invites his friends and his family. And it was good to see Chris again. And these guys are truly bird dog guys. They love their dogs. You can just see it in their eyes and in their movements. And those are my type of people, right? They're people I want to spend time around. They've got good energy about them, and they're so supportive of everything and everyone and every dog. And I think that's important in the upland world, and that's what they want. We don't care about shooting a bunch of birds. We care about the dogs.